Hey, it's Eran here. Welcome back to my YouTube channel. In this video, I'm going to tell you about why I decided to move to Dubai after being in Australia for 19 years. So I just recently decided to move to Dubai, and honestly, it was completely accidental, and I wanted to tell you a little bit about the reasoning for it. So if you are just curious as to why I did it, or you're curious as to why that might be a good move for you or not, then I'm going to tell you some details that you might not have seen in other YouTube videos or other stories to do with Dubai. So with that said, let's dive right in. So reason number one is because I can. Then this might sound a bit like simple, but the reality is that I work online and I have an online business and I've been working very hard to build it. And there is so many people in my shoes and in your shoes who are trying to build an online business. They want to sell online courses or memberships or coaching and have that location independent lifestyle. And the fact is that I've worked very hard to actually be in that situation. So when I arrived in Dubai, I just thought to myself, why not? Also, I've been aspiring to be a digital nomad for quite a while. And it's just I've kind of been looking for the right time to test it out and see how I feel about it and then basically take the plunge. And I just felt that I'm at the right time in the stage of my business and my career and financially and personal reasons that I thought it's the right time to do it. Now, I want to tell you a little bit about the backstory because this was completely accidental. It was not intentional at all to go to Dubai. So the backstory of it is that, in case you didn't know, I'm originally from Israel and I haven't been on holiday in Israel for about 3 years and I wanted to visit my family. Now, if you go to Israel, obviously we have, we fly, it's a big flight, it's a whole trip, right? It's like a long trip to do. Now, I wanted to deduct it on my taxes in Australia. And I found out that a friend of mine is actually doing a business event in Thailand. And I thought, great opportunity. I'll go from Perth to Thailand, Thailand to Israel, and Israel go back. And that way I can deduct the trip as a business expense because of the business event in Thailand. And that was kind of the idea. And I checked flights and stuff like that. And it was $6,000 for the flights, which was business class, but that was the price. And then I was actually speaking to a family member about the option to go and stuff like that. And they suggested, why don't you check Dubai? And I thought, I didn't even occur to check Dubai if I can fly via or whatever. And I checked Dubai, and basically flying Perth, Thailand, Dubai, Israel, business class was $5,000, not $6,000. So it was $1,000 cheaper. So I figured, you know what, the $1,000 that I'm saving, I'll just pay for the hotel in Dubai and have an extra 4 days there. Why not? I've never been there. You see it from maybe movies that I've seen, whether it's Fast and Furious and Mission Impossible, you kind of hear about Dubai, but I didn't really know much about it. Anyway, so that's how it kind of happened. So it was really accidental. Go for 4 days and try it out. Meantime, I was obviously doing a little bit of research, like what am I going to do for 4 days? I found out about the skydive here over the islands, the Palm Islands, and then there's a zip line. And I thought, you know what, it would be super cool to do all of that stuff. Obviously, I knew about the tall building, Burj Khalifa, and I thought, let's just go for it and do that trip. So I went from Perth, Thailand. I was in Thailand for 2 weeks. Didn't particularly, it was okay. I didn't mind it, but I just enjoyed being in a 5-star hotel. I didn't quite resonate with actually being in Thailand as a digital nomad particularly. And then in contrast from Thailand, I went to Dubai, and Dubai was just super clean, super organized. And I just was like, wow, this is freaking awesome. I really enjoyed being here just on the first day, just when I arrived. And I remember that back in the day when I first went to Sydney 19 years ago, and I was 16 years old, and I remember driving by and seeing the tall buildings, and I thought, wow, I want to live here. I want to be here. And I did end up staying in Sydney, and it was awesome. And then when I went to Dubai on the first day, I went to the Dubai Mall and going to the Burj Khalifa, and I thought, you know what? I kind of had that same gut feeling from 19 years ago. I thought, you know what? I want to stay here. So I kind of made my mind at that day, on the first day that I was in Dubai, you know what? Let me figure out a way to stay here. I started doing a bit of research, and I found out that there's no taxes as well. And I was like, hang on, what do you mean there's no taxes? Like, you have to kind of get your head around, what does it actually mean? Because I'm so accustomed to thinking as a business owner, this is a business expense, that's a business expense, I might as well pay for this because it's a business expense. And you're kind of, instead of, taking some money out of your business to maybe save some money or whatever, I'm always thinking with reinvesting over and over and over. And that's all good, but at the end of the day, I'm like, well, hang on. Like, I want to actually take money out as well. So it's not that it's wrong to reinvest back in your business, but to kind of feel as a mindset you have to do that because you otherwise pay a high percent to the tax office. And I'm in the tax bracket of 49%, right? So that's just like a ridiculous tax bracket to pay. So obviously I don't pay 49% because I deduct so much. But anyway, that was the point. So I've thought to myself, taxes was obviously a big deal because I basically made an emotional decision. You know, I don't want to stay in Dubai. But then I found a way to make sense of it logically with the taxes. And when I did my numbers, basically I triple my savings as a worst case scenario. If I just do straight numbers, the company that it cost me to actually set up in Dubai and the move and everything, within 3 years, I will triple my money right out the gate, basically. So it just was a bit of a no-brainer for me to do all that. And I'll discuss the cost that it cost me to move to Dubai and flights and set up a company and give you a little bit more details about all of that as well if you're interested. If you're interested in something like that, leave a comment below and say the word company, and I will give you more details about the entire process of setting up a company and all that stuff. And it's important that I get that feedback from you because also there is certain variables to do with changing your PayPal, changing payment integrations, your course platform and membership platform, which you need to know. And I'm still kind of investigating it and figuring out how that's going to flow. So I'll have way better insights for that video in probably a month or two. So make sure you leave a comment to let me know if you're interested in that, and I'll make sure that I cover that. Now, the next reason why I wanted to move to Dubai is honestly a bit of a personal reason, and it's a bit of like a comfort zone. So I find that, you know, if I get too comfortable in a certain situation, then it can get boring, right? And I've got a pretty decent lifestyle in Australia. I bought a house, you know, it's comfortable living. I've got everything near me. I have a good business, got passive income. It's all nice and well. And you know, moving to a new country that, you know, I don't know anybody pretty much. It's brand new and so on. Then I figured it's a really good opportunity to just step out of that comfort zone. Now I do know people because I've now met people, but when I was first here, like I literally knew nobody. So just stepping out of that comfort zone to me is also kind of important. And if you kind of see the track of me being online the last 3 to 5 years, I've always kind of tried to do something that's a little bit uncomfortable. And I feel that that's just a good way to operate as a business owner, to not get too complacent with, you know, with your lifestyle. So that's kind of the other reason as well. Now, I wanted to share a little bit about how the move kind of transpired. So basically, I did my virtual summit, and I think it was middle of August now, middle of July, middle of August. I spent 2 weeks in Thailand doing the business conference, and then I went to Dubai for 4 days, and I did Burj Khalifa on day 1, I did the zipline on day 2, and I did the skydiving on day 3. And I'll leave the video around here so you can check it out as well. It was great experiences. I had a great time doing it. It was a bit wild, you know, but it was just a really jam-packed 3 days. So you can check out those videos separately if you're interested in that. Now, and then I went to Israel and I spent there a month with my family. It was great. You know, it was the first time I spent actually my birthday with my family in 20 years, like all together. So it was really special. And obviously there is also another aspect where, which was kind of accidental or unintentional, is that Dubai is actually 3 hours away from Israel by flight. So to some degree, it's kind of a little bit more convenient to also go and visit family. And instead of me doing, let's say, a trip once every year or 2 years, paying an arm and a leg and having to kind of spend 3 or 4 or 5 or even 2 months in Israel just to kind of justify the cost and the time, you know, with Dubai, I could literally be there overnight, maybe spend a weekend, maybe 5 days, and then go back. So it kind of makes sense to also, from that perspective, that was just an extra bonus. I wouldn't say that was a reason why I chose to do it, but it was definitely a bonus that kind of ended up as part of this. So that's another reason. Once I finished in Israel for 4 weeks, I flew back to Dubai. I spent a day here, and I actually left my suitcase in Dubai because I knew I'm coming back. By that stage, I've already made a new friend, and I left the suitcase at their place. And then I flew back to Australia. I was already booked my return flight from Australia back to Dubai. So I've literally locked myself in, left my suitcase, all my return ticket, everything. And I allocated 10 days in Perth to actually get all my stuff sorted. As you may have followed, if you follow me for a while, you know I've bought an apartment there exactly a year ago. And in Australia, it's a first home buyer grant, what I had because I'm a first home buyer. And part of that agreement with the government to get that grant is you have to live in that apartment for 10 months. And I literally lived there for 10 months at the time that I made a decision to go to Dubai. So also from the timing of the apartment and everything, it just made total sense to just like, okay, great, now I can actually do it, and so on. Then when I went back to Australia, I basically, decided what I want to keep, what I want to sell, check out options about renting my apartment, go to do all the logistics of the banks and change my loan around and things like that, because there's a bunch of stuff that have to be done along these lines. It's all boring. I won't even bother you with the specifics. And I did all that, and now I'm renting out my apartment basically. And in terms of living expenses, like what I was paying for my mortgage in Australia and the living expenses, it's not too different than the living expenses that I have here in Dubai. The only exception is that in Dubai, because there is certain requirements with visa and things like that, that I wasn't able to pay rent on an ongoing basis. Again, I will save it to a different video about those logistics. But basically, it was required of me to be able to get an apartment here, which is the apartment you're seeing right now, where I'm actually living. And this, I was required to pay for the entire contract. So I signed up for a 6-month contract to live in this apartment, and I paid for 6 months in advance. But in terms of the cost, it's actually quite similar to what I was paying in Australia anyway. And because I was living in my apartment in Australia and now I'm renting it out and it breaks even more or less, then basically whatever I was paying for my mortgage in Australia, I basically just pay here in Dubai. So it didn't make a hell of a difference particularly. And so the apartment thing was, was a bit of a no-brainer to move because there's no extra cost as such. And the extra bonus is now I have an investment property that actually pays for itself. So I actually have a real estate asset that pays for itself, and of course I can continue to grow it, and so on and so forth. In terms of the business in Australia, taxes in Australia, the company in Dubai, the taxes in Dubai, and the prices of setting up a company, I really want to save it to a different video so I can really give you some specific numbers so it kind of makes sense to you and give you a whole breakdown. So again, if you're interested in that type of a video, then definitely leave a comment with the word company and I'll be sure to record a video on that. So that's about it. That's a little bit about the insights of why I decided to move to Dubai. Hope you got value from this video, give you a bit of insights about what I'm doing, why I'm doing it, and stuff like that. There is obviously no change in my services, what I do, how I serve people. My membership is still going. Everything is working just fine. And my business is remote. It's digital. So I literally take my laptop. The decision to move was obviously made very quickly, but really there's not much of a difference. As soon as I plug my computer here to Wi-Fi, I'm good to go. So that's about it. Hope you got value in this video. Thanks for watching. If you're new to this channel, please hit the subscribe button and leave a comment. And that's about it. If you want to watch the other videos about my Dubai experiences of the skydiving and the zip line, these are super cool experiences. I'm going to leave it right around here so you can actually check it out. Thanks a lot, and I'll speak to you soon.